So welcome into the form where we analyse the best races coming up over the weekend, and our team to analyse those races this week, we've got Aidan Rodley joining us, Leith Innes, and we're lucky enough to have Jane Ivel. And this is what's coming up on the agenda. We start with Tarapa. We look forward to the Te Awamutu Cup, the feature on the flat there. Also, of course, plenty of jumps racing to talk about again. Our race trackers, horses we think you should be following in the coming weeks. Then we head down to Otaki. We'll be taking a look at both of the open races on the program. And our best bets, we got a few land last week. Let's hope we can find you some more. We'll head off to Tarapa, and as I say hello to you, Aidan, there's a little bit of wet weather around at the moment, so what will we be running on Saturday?
Yeah, unfortunately, that wet of winter just continues, doesn't it, Pip? So there is rain Thursday, Friday, and showers for Saturday. So hopefully it does clear a little for the weekend for those heading on track to Tarapa. But the damage has already been done. Racing on a heavy 10, but it is winter. That's what we expect.
Really is. As we take a look at the feature, race number 7 on the program, it's the UPB Te Awamutu Cup, where Pacifico is your favourite at $2.90. Then you've got Joshua Brown, who was a last start winner as well at $5.50, and Khan Hunter on that third line of betting. Let's take you back to the form, and we'll start with our favourite Pacifico. The Andrew Forsman runner Aidan is just in superb form and picked up another win here at Ruakaka.
Yeah, looking for 4 straight this weekend. Has been terrific on the way through, winning twice at this weekend's distance of 1,600 metres before stepping up to 2,100 metres and leading throughout at Ruakaka last week. This was a terrific run. Still, after doing all the work in the race, runs a second quickest last 400, quickest last 200 of the race. Boy, he's been in great form, Leith.
It certainly is. Look, it was a really good ride by Michael. He dictated the pace. There was an extremely sort of fast lane on the inside there as well. But look, he's going for, this is his third run in 3 weeks. He's super fit, and the drop back to the mile is probably going to suit him, and he gets 2 kilos off his back this week as well.
You mentioned the fact, Leith, that he is a horse that's having 3 runs with it in 2 weeks. I think what you can see from his results on the track is that he just looks like a horse that's absolutely thriving on racing at the moment. Conditions should suit him on Saturday. Obviously, they've elected to take a little bit of weight off his back with the claim as well. So I think it sets up for him this race without having too much pressure on him from a position where he can probably dictate terms again in this type of field as well. But there is another runner down in the weights that I don't mind, and that's Joshua Brown. Drops quite significantly off the back of this run a couple of weeks ago. Has a real liking for Tarapa, Joshua Brown. When you look at the course stats, he's had 5 starts there for 2 wins and 2 placings, and he just looks like a horse that is heading in the right direction in terms of the way that he's come up, and particularly this time of year where he appreciates a bit of cut in the track.
Yeah, he's certainly well placed. Obviously, it's his first start in open handicap. He gets in on the minimum of 54 kilos. He looked at the fastest half mile, 600, 400, 200 metre sectionals as well. So, look, he's got to be hard to beat. Lindsay Sullivan knows him really well as well. Yeah,
it's just so many boxes ticked with this bloke, isn't there? As Jane said, there's core stats. You've got a terrific record on a heavy track and really good winning that 75 last time. It was a gritty win too, wasn't it? Out of that race comes Sulabella, who is successful. Sulabella finishing 7th in that race. Sulabella winning at Rotorua on Wednesday to frank that form okay. While I've been with Uderzo right through, and I am really respectful of Uderzo with a claim, I'm going to go with Joshua Brown on top for this one. Leith, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a little bit of value. Drop of something when he ran 3rd. He only got beaten just under a length to Soldier Boy. He's got the 4 kilos off his back of Yuga on, and I thought he was great each way value.
I'm with Pacifico. I don't see any reason why a horse like him that's in form at the moment can't continue on his winning way. As I said, he just looks like he's thriving. He gets conditions to suit. I think the drop back to mile is absolutely perfect for him, and from barrier 1, I just can't see a lot of pressure. I know there's some leaders in the race, but they tend to lead once they're over a little bit more ground. So I think that he can get away with an uncontested lead, and we can see something quite similar to what we've seen in his last couple of outings.
Okay, so everybody split in the feature, the Te Awamutu Cup. Now let's have a look at race number 8 weight on the program, and in this one, the Group 1 Turf Bar Sprint Handicap. Over the 1,200 metres, Lazio favourite at $3.40 from Cleat. Then you've got Gospodin at $4.50, and Waihaha Falls has been the horse that's moved $20 into 16s down the bottom of the book. Let's take you back to Gospodin last time out with Caitlin's Wish here, Mercurial. And look, Aidan, this was a really good effort just in behind a very, very nice winter galloper in Twain.
Yeah, and Twain's obviously just in super form has gone on to. Caitlin's Wish is a horse who is getting fitter and fitter and will be improved again. But Gospodin, very good. Along the inside, not always the best place to be in these winter conditions. A horse who placed in the Otaki Cup last year and did run third in this race last year as well. I'm sure the Otaki Cup's on the dance card again, Leith.
Yeah, look, Gospodin in the race was really good. Like you said, Caitlin's Wish, she's getting fitter with every start. And look, Gospodin, he got beaten by standing. Twain's probably a horse that's going to run third, second favourite in the Foxbridge Plate. So I think the form out of the race is pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the right form lines when you look at Twain. Also, he's a horse that's won on multiple occasions third up. He comes into this third up, so I think he's peaking at the right time to put in a performance on Saturday. Look, outside of that, obviously, I think the favourite looks really hard to beat, travelling up from the Central Districts, lightweight chance and certainly in form. But Cleat's the other one that's been putting together a really nice form line in recent times, and we talk about winter gallopers and the fact that claimers really come to the fore this time of year. 4 kilos off the carded weight, which would mean probably carrying one of the lightest weights in the race, certainly got to be an advantage. It's a horse that puts himself in the race, and I think he'll make his presence felt. Yeah,
look, his last 2 wins have been really strong. Obviously, Gareth Lahoud sticks with as well. Look, his book weight, he can only claim down to the 52 kilos, so he can only claim the 2 kilos this Saturday, but look, he's got a liking for the course. He'll be sort of probably on speed as well.
Yeah, you make a good point again. You made the same point last week, Leith, just around jockeys hitting their minimum weights. Normally, with the claim, you'd get down to 50 kilograms, and it does really make a difference. A horse who's rating 75 winner looking for 3 straight. But, yeah, I'm not so sure. This is such a good race. You know, you look at the top of the book, Waihaha Falls was a horse who's run 4th in a Group 3 Sydney Stakes. Now, that's the Everest Consolation. So just missed out on the Everest, runs 4th in the Group 3 Consolation. So this is a quality field. I'm with the CD visitor that Jane spoke about, Lazio, who did beat Waihaha Falls in October last year, is in 3.5 kilograms worse from that. But the trial after the resuming run was terrific. Terrific running third, and then has won a trial 3/4 of a length, 7 lengths. So Lazio with the Alan Sherrick barn, he's a very good traveller.
Yeah, look, Lazio's got to be hard to beat with the claim as well, second up. Like you said, it's a strong field. I'm just going to go for Gospodin. I know he hasn't won since May of 23. Look, he's got 57 kilos. I've just got a feeling they're going to overdo it in front, and it looks like there's going to be a ton of speed. So want to see him back in the winner's circle, and on his last one, I think he should be going close.
I leant the same way as you for exactly the same reason, Leith, and it was the speed map. I just thought that there'd be a number of runners contesting the speed. It should set up for a nice pace, and he's a horse that can just settle in behind. And I think he's the here and now. I agree with you, Aidan, in the fact that this is a really good field, but I think there's a couple of horses that are at different stages of their preparation. He generally peaks third up in a preparation. As I mentioned before, he's won twice third up. So he, to me, just seems the here and now horse and the map horse for this race.
Okay, like it, Jane and Leith with Gospodin and Aidan with Lazio. As we now move to race number 3, this for the 3-year-olds, and Honey Badger is the clear-cut favourite at $1.90 for Tony Pike. Then you've got Rib Cracker at $5 along with Boesque at that quote. Honey Badger, well, one thing, Aidan, she certainly relishes the track conditions as we take a look at her winning on the heavy 10 here last time underneath Michael McNabb, and she only goes up half a kilo from this effort. Yeah,
absolutely. This is just a clinical win by a really, really talented filly. She was scoring at Rotorua 3 starts back by 8.5 lengths. The concern is just her left-handed record. She just doesn't seem to be quite as potent left-handed or at Tarapa. She was just off the speed when running third there 2 starts back, and it was a more positive ride at Tauranga last time, Lee.
Yeah, it certainly was a more positive ride. Look, there is that niggly situation. She doesn't really like Te Rapa. She likes these really deep sort of testing heavy tracks as well. Look, she's in good form. She's super fit, Michael Sticks. So, there's plenty to like about her.
And she was really dominant, wasn't she, last start, particularly against some of the rivals she faces again on Saturday. I think looking outside of that form line, now you're looking at the Central District's galloper here and Boas coming from the Robbie Patterson stable. Look, I thought, again, a good performance in really testing track conditions at New Plymouth a couple of weeks ago. The stable's in form, lightly tried. So, look, if you're looking outside of the favourite, this is probably the form line you want to look at.
Yeah, certainly. Tristan sort of rode this day as well, and he gets the kilo off, gets down to 56 kilos. Look, he looked like he won with Forbidden Hand as well, so natural improvement should be, he should be up to sort of running the first three on a race like Saturday.
Yeah, pretty decent conditions that day, and really looks promising. Boesk did it really nicely in a field that's deep enough. Like Social Climber went round in a Rider Stakes running fourth last preparation, fresh up. But I'm with Honey Badger. Just that little Te Rapa concern. But Honey Badger, for mine, is clearly the yardstick on ability in this race.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on Honey Badger. Michael McNabb on. He won this race last year off Cornelia, so he'll be winning again on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I'm not stepping outside the square in this race either. I'm with the favourite, Honey Badger. I thought it was a dominant performance against a lot of these rivals last start. Good barrier, good rider. I think that he can do a very similar thing again on Saturday. I know you can always have to be wary when a horse's record suggests they go a lot better right-handed than they do left-handed, but he has won left-handed previously, or she has won left-handed previously. Most experienced horse in the field, so that's the way I've leaned.
Okay, like it. Everybody in agreement, and you can still shop around $1.90. Make sure you catch all the build-up from Te Rapa, 11 a.m. on Big Saturday. Time now to have a look at the jumps racing out of Te Rapa, and we'll start with race number 4 on the program. This one's the Waikato Hunt Cup Steeple, where Leum Lad is paying $3 on that second line of betting. Owls Red Z at $4.80. Let's go back to some key form, and we will actually start with Leum Lad back here to Te Rapa, and Emily Farr just gets on with him so well, Aidan.
Yeah, there was a lot more speed in this race. Jacama Crystal and Leum Lad went head-to-head right through, and it just meant that there was no mucking around. And for that reason, Leum Lad certainly jumped a lot better than what he had in his previous start at Te Rapa when he was retired, when his jumping was all awry. He just he got a couple wrong around that 600-metre mark, but boy, he's a promising horse. He's won 2 of 4 in steeplechases, and he beat most of his rivals who he meets this end pretty well.
Yeah, look, he's gone up in weight. Yeah, just like you said, previous start at Te Rapa, I just don't know what happened. It wasn't like him. He jumped pretty average, got pulled up early. Better display at, obviously, last start at Te Araha, but, I'm just a little bit niggly on him getting around Te Rapa again.
His record over the big fences sort of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Aidan alluded to that. He's had the 4 tries over the steeplechases, and he's won 2 of those, and Emily Farr's been in the saddle on both occasions. So I think she could be the key to this horse. I've looked elsewhere. I quite like the Paul Nelson and Karina McDougall runner that's heading up to Te Rapa and Owls Red Z. I just feel like he's coming out of the right races for this particular race. You've only got to look at his last 2 outings where he's finished in behind Jesco, who looks like the best jumper in the country at the moment. So to be finishing a few lengths off of him in his last couple of outings, I think puts him right into the picture here. I see the team have elected to put a tongue tie on him. He's had a couple of runs back this preparation, 3rd up, ready to peak at Te Rapa.
Yeah, certainly is. He looks like one of the better bets of the week, I thought. Look, this horse is bred by Butch Castles and Alan Sharrock. Look, he's, like you say, he's that Jesco form's going to be pretty strong coming into a race like Saturday. Hamish McNeil's on as well. He's won on him before from 6 rides. Plenty to like about him, A-Rod.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 really good runs. And doesn't it say something about Paul and Karina's conditioning? To have this horse placing fresh up, over 3,800 metres, a couple of starts back at Wanganui. It's gone on to run second in a Manawa 2 steeples with a very good run. The one concern may be that the previous run at Te Rapa but that was on the undercard of the Northern, I think, last year in a maiden steeplechase when he was beaten out of sight. But he seems to have come back a much stronger horse, and yeah, I was with him on top as well.
Yeah, I certainly think the Jesco form line's pretty strong for a race like this Saturday. Hamish McNeil knows him well. He's had him 6 rides for a win on the horse as well.
Yeah, I'm with Els Red Z as well, as I said before. I just think really good placement to avoid Jesco at Trentham and to be heading to Te Rapa. So I think the race sets up really nice for him, as we've mentioned, comes through the right form lines as well.
Okay, now let's move on to the hurdle, race number 2 on the program. And our favourite in this is Jerry Coop at $3.90 from Duke of Plumpton at $4.80, along with the Bambino. You can see it's a pretty open race according to the market. So let's have a look again at some key form leading in. The Bambino here third, Aiden, and behind, of course, Georgian Warrior and Atarangi. It was a fantastic finish to this race. How did you assess the form?
Yeah, it was a super run, especially Lord Spencer, who came from nowhere to be winning this. But the Bambino's run excellent. Ben Foot among the co-owners of this horse as well. The effort, he just seems to be building ninth. He was fourth in a 1 or 2 hurdles a couple of starts back. Georgian Warrior was okay. He was a winner a couple of starts back, beating Yolo quite easily, and Yolo then came out and won the next start. Nararangi, he's a horse who's going okay too. The form's okay, but I was siding with the Bambino as my top in this.
Yeah, certainly a great finish, like you said. Lord Spencer won off the top weight there. Georgian Warrior, I thought he was probably the run of the race. He just hit that second last fence. Look, Kylan Wiles gets on this week. He's only ridden him once before, and that was in a high weight. So he gets on Dad's horse, and I think they'll be pretty hard to beat this week.
Yeah, it's probably not the easiest race to sort out, is it? Because you do have quite competing form lines leading into the hurdle. English Gambler's another one to consider off the back of his second placing last start. I know at times he can be a little bit take on trust, but he's pretty experienced in the role as a hurdler now, and obviously knows Te Rapa pretty well.
Yeah, look, he's one of those horses. He gives you a run for his money, and look, English Gambler, as we all know, when he's on, he's on. Just a little bit worried about the really heavy sort of 10 track. That track was bordering on sort of just a slow, soft 7, so he's not going to get the conditions that he's probably wanting on the weekend.
Yeah, we know what he's going to do, and he was a lot better. He was a lot more settled in running. The horse who he's nosed out in that finish for second was Dictation. He's come out and won again, and Lord Spencer, as we saw from that previous video, was further back in that race and has come out and won again. So the form looks pretty good around English Gambler as well. And just to the point around Georgian Warrior, you talk about Kylan Wiles doing the riding length, and again, it's that minimum situation where while he's 2 kilogram claiming jumps jockey, he rides down to 66, so he won't be claiming at all. So that means that he's meeting the Bambino a kilogram worse, and for that reason I'm with the Bambino as my top selection in the steeplechase.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I'm going to go for the father and son combination, Georgian Warrior. Look, I really liked his last couple of runs at Te Araha. He'll be super fit this week, and I'll be going very, very close.
Duke of Plumpton for me, and so we're all a little bit different leading into the hurdle. Kaylee Myers training for her father Kevin and for Patrick Payne. I like the preparation this horse has had actually coming into this race. The fact that he's had a couple of runs on the flat, it's his first go over the hurdles this preparation, but his hurdle record is sound. He's had 3 starts over the fences, hasn't finished out of the top 3. He's got ability on the flat. That's why I like him here. He's won 8 races on the flat, and I think he's been prepped perfectly for this with a trial leading in. So I'm with Duke of Plumpton here.
Yeah, it's certainly like the market, isn't it? Very open with everybody split in the hurdle, and that completes our look at Te Rapa. Make sure you catch the action on Big Saturday from 11 a.m. Let's have a look at what runners we think you should be following in the coming weeks. Leith, who have you found for us?
Yeah, I'm going to take you back to last Saturday at Ruakaka. St. Baffin's, look, he missed the kick. He was slow away, and then he was going for a sort of run halfway down the straight, and he got shut out. So, look, I think with clear running, he would have run a clear second to Sterling Express, and look, Andrew Forsham's not quite sure if he runs next Saturday at Ruakaka in the Open 14 or the following week in the Open Eki Cup, but I think the horse is he's due a win. It's not far away.
He's going well, for sure. It was an interesting day, wasn't it? I've gone for the horse in the gold here, who was a clear last best fire, and it wasn't easy to do that. Now, the problem is if they go back to Ruakaka and you get another on-speed track like we saw last Saturday, then you can't afford to miss the start like Best Fire did. But boy, that was a run and a half, so yeah, I'm going to be sticking with him.
I'm with a last start winner out of the Trentham meeting last Saturday in Free Bell. Robbie Patterson trains. Really lightly tried mare. She's only had the 4 starts. She's put together a couple of wins. I thought to her sectional data matched up to the Open 12 and the benchmark 75 on the day over the 1400 metres, given she went a mile and was running some really close closing sectionals to the Open handicappers over 1200 metres. I thought was plenty of merit. I do know that it's a horse that can do a few things wrong and mentally has a wee way to go, but I think it's a horse you can follow through the winter.
Okay, and I'm taking you back up to Ruakaka. Miss Seth here down the outside, arguably probably not in the best part of the track, but she's really flown late for the local trainer there, Kenny Ray. So I think she's a real follow, Miss Seth, in the coming weeks. You won't be surprised to see her back up there. Here's a summary. Leith with St. Bathans, Vestfire for Aidan, Free Bell for Jane, and I'm with Miss Seth. Make sure you pop them in your race trackers. Our second domestic meeting on Saturday is in Otaki, and Jane, that's your area, weather and track-wise. Are we getting similar to Te Rapa?
Yeah, I think what we're going to be seeing is very typical winter track conditions on Saturday at Otaki. The rails are out 7 metres, and look, there has been some significant rain coming. The track's already rated in that heavy range, and we're due to have some heavy showers both today and tomorrow leading into the meeting. So we're not going to see any improvement on track conditions. It's going to be a pretty testing, heavy track on Saturday for all involved.
Okay, so we want to really find those heavy trackers, and we'll start with the Open on the program over the 1400 metres. Race number 6, Bell's Bow favourite, $1.90, now into $1.85. Bellado Boy at $3.80, the only other runner really standing out in the market. Let's go back to Bell's Bow, of course, very good here last time winning. Jane beats Bradman as well, so the form has been franked.
The form's certainly been franked when you look at what a couple of the runners, not just Bradman, but the horse I think finished third or second in this as well, has come out and won again since. I just like the fact that this gelding has a little bit of upside, very lightly tried up against some sort of old-timer winter gallopers, but I think still on the way up, and the run last start particularly showed that in the way he was able to dominate a couple of those horses, as we've said, that have come out and won since.
Yeah, look, he's an up-and-comer, isn't he? You'd think a race like the Open Economic Cup's going to really suit him as well. He's a rising 5-year-old. He was exposed early on that Wanganui track as well, and those idle horses had the time to sort of run him down, and you probably can't really see him getting beat this week either.
Absolutely. He make time in the same weights, and Charger Bar only 2 kilograms worse than the 10 lengths plus behind. The other horse who placed in that race in behind was Benefactor, who's come out and won since Old Town Road, who was 4th place, so the form are excellent. Pip spoke about finding that really heavy tracker, and that's what Bellado Boy is. He's won 7 on heavy conditions, second in the AGC training stakes under weight for age conditions. He's won 2 of 4 at Otaki, and gets the claim of Amber Riddell, but still 60 kilograms on a testing track. That might be the concern, but for mine, you just got to respect him, Lee.
Yeah, you've got to have him somewhere in your top sort of 4 ticket. I just think like they're probably targeting a race like the Open Economic Cup where, look, it's probably more of a fitness run this week. Amber's on, she gets the 2 kilos off, like you said, get down to 60 kilos. He will handle the Otaki track, but I just can't have him on top this week.
Given the upside of Bell's Bow, I think he's a very easy one to find in this particular event. Gets in well at the weights. He's got the form lines behind him in terms of what Bradman and Benefactor were able to do coming out of that last start effort. So happy to be with the favourite here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on the $1.85 favourite as well. Look, Karvich, he's got a great association with Robbie Patterson. He's only had 5 rides for 3 winners, and I think they'll be going for another one this week.
Yeah, no argument from me. Team on with Bell's Bow as well.
And you can get him as well at $1.95 with the odds surge, as we now move on to the open race over the 2,000 metres. And this is a little bit more open according to the market. Pride of Aspen at $2.40, from Boomtown Boy at $3.30. And then you've got Hula Beat and Pinkerton both sitting at that $5 currently. Let's go back to Boomtown Boy, Pinkerton, Carpe Diem coming out of this race. And again, another placing, Jane, for Boomtown Boy. Just slightly concerning, hasn't won since May 24.
Yeah, he's obviously a horse that needs to get his nose down on the line and put another win on the board. He almost did that on this occasion. Looked like he had the race in his hands and was nutted by the horse on the inside that fought back on the line. What I do like about him on Saturday is Kelly Myers, given her association with the stables, actually only sat on this horse twice, and her first ride was a number of years ago. I think it's good that she's had a feel of him. I think from barrier one, given the speed in the race, if she wants to, she can probably dictate terms. And the fact that she's probably just got a little bit more of an idea about how the horse ticks, given she rode him last start, I think puts her in a really good position here. I do think he's the best horse in this field, but he just needs to get back into the winner's circle.
Yeah, look, he's certainly frustrating. You'd love to own me. He's honest. Like you say, Kelly's riding so good at this season. Yeah, she might be able to dictate the pace. Lot from barrier one. You know he's going to handle the Otaki heavy track as well. I haven't got him on top, but you'd have to have him in your top three.
It's going to be a tactical affair, and there's not a lot of speed, so he probably lands there by default almost, Boomtown Boy. But Pinkerton was really good in that race. I know there's no real tactical speed there, but comes in 1.5 kilograms better on basically a 1.5 length margin. So I thought Pinkerton was a fair hope of turning the tables in this. Let's go and take you to Pride of Aspen, who ran really well in second last time out. Amber Riddell was on Pinkerton. She goes to Pride of Aspen. So do we take a bit of a lean through that, and obviously through the market, which has Pride of Aspen as a clear favourite, Lee?
Yeah, look, obviously she gets down to that beautiful weight of 55 kilos, and being a sort of small field, she's not going to get too far off them. Amber's riding super well. She's had a great season. I've actually got her on top. I think she'll be winning this Saturday.
Yeah, normally this time of year I probably would lean towards Pride of Aspen in a race like this, given the weight advantage, but I have gone with Boomtown Boy on top, and I think it's more from a tactical advantage. The fact that I think he can probably dictate terms in front is the reason I've landed on him. But I think it's an interesting field. Hula Beat certainly looks like he's building towards something. And you mentioned Pinkerton. There was merit in his run the other day too. But from a tactical point of view, I've gone with Boomtown Boy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm Pride of Aspen. I think well weighted, 55 kilos. Amber's riding super well. Horse likes Otaki as well.
Geez, you picked Hula Beat a couple of starts back too, and that day beat home Boomtown Boy and comes in 4.5 kilograms better. So I thought you might have gone that way. For mine, it's just such a tough race, but I'm going to go with Pinkerton, third up into the preparation, just like what I saw last time out. And I think Liam Cody will be really mindful about just how this race maps, and he might go early.
Yeah, and those claims, they just come into play, don't they? The team might have tipped you the trifecta there, and that completes our look at Otaki, the first race from there, underway 11:55 a.m. on your big Saturday. Time to try and find some more best bets for this weekend. Lethy, you're up first.
Yeah, I'm going to try something different this week, Pip. I'm sick of these Saturday races and Sunday. I'm going to go Friday. Awapuni Synthetic, no trumps. This horse was massive, over 1,400 metres. Bruno gets on, sticks again. Step up to 1,700 metres, race one, $3.70. I think we're going to get one this week.
That's the key, isn't it? Leith's not really a weekend guy. He's more of a Friday guy. So let's hope that works out. I'm going to go Honey Badger. Just a little concern about Te Rapa, but just love what we've seen from this horse in those 2 wins by big margins. So, yeah, for me, Honey Badger.
Well, I'm heading to finals day at Flemington. It can often be hard to pick a winner on finals day, but I really like this mare Oh Too Good from the Kevin Daffy stable. She was really impressive, winning on the track over the trip last start, and it's a race that rated really highly. Ben Allen coming back from suspension and getting down to the 54 kilos is not easy for him. He's doing it for this mare. She's always looked like she could potentially get to stakes level, and she's heading in the right direction. Her record over the 1600 metres is superb, so hopefully she can get the job done at Flemington on Saturday.
Like it, and I'm going to Bell's Bow in, of course, the open sprint for Robbie Patterson. You can take the 195 odd surge. I just think, again, the weight swing compared to Balado Boy will get him another win for Robbie Patterson, so I'll go with him in the 6th out of Otaki. Let's have a look at what our other tipsters are liking. The Whale jumps in with Seclusion, and as you can see, Leith kicks us off with no trumps, hopefully with a winner. Bow's Bell for myself, Honey Badger for Aidan, and Oh Too Good, Jane will round us out on Saturday. And that completes the form. Thanks as always to Aidan and Leith. Jane, thank you for joining us this week. We hope you enjoy all of the action this weekend. We'll catch you back next week.